But as the political controversy over the Lakhimpur violence escalates, I'm joined by P. Chidambaram, former finance minister, senior leader of the Congress party and also a leading advocate in the Supreme Court. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Chidambaram, for joining us. Mr. Chidambaram, now it's fairly clear that leaders of the Congress like Priyanka Gandhi and others have been kept in the custody of the UP police for more than 24 hours. They've still not been produced before a magistrate. What is the legal implication of this, and how credible is the UP government's argument that, look, we had to detain these leaders because otherwise they would have created political unrest at the Lakhimpur site?
I'll come to the second part later, but it's completely illegal. They arrested her at 4:30 on Monday morning. 24 hours ended at 4:30 this morning. They only said, we are arresting you under section 151. Section 151 of the CRPC enables a police officer to arrest a person if he knows that the person has a design to commit a cognizable offense. He has not committed an offense, a design to commit an offense. So the moment you invoke 151, you are admitting that no crime has been committed. It may be committed. You are detaining. But section 151, subsection 2 says, such a person cannot be kept in detention beyond 24 hours. You have to take the person to the magistrate. Now it's almost 36 hours and they have not taken Priyanka Gandhi or anyone else to the magistrate. Now, this is completely illegal. It's illegal for many other reasons. You cannot arrest a woman after sunset or before sunrise. Arrest was at 4:30. A woman cannot be arrested by touching the woman except by a female police officer. Now, she was jostled by male police officers. You cannot keep, you have to draw up a memorandum of arrest, get a witness to sign it, and the arrested person should sign it. Until this moment, as we speak today, no memorandum of arrest has been given to Ms. Priyanka Gandhi. Now, to make matters worse, a couple of hours ago, they have informed her, you are being charged under section 151 of the CRPC, section 107 and 116 of the IPC. Now, I'm amazed. 107 and 116 talk about abetment. You have to abet somebody. You have to abet a crime. So you'll have to tell Ms. Gandhi, which is the crime that you are abetting. Who is the person you are abetting? They say nothing about that. They just say it in the air. How can you abet in the air? How can you abet in the vacuum? You have to abet somebody and some crime. And even today, they have not produced her before the magistrate. And strange, I'm not sure. This is what I've gathered. I believe the magistrate has remanded her. How can the magistrate remand her without her being produced before the magistrate? Section 167 is very clear. 24 hours is the limit. You have to produce her before the magistrate. The magistrate must see the arrested person and then only pass an order of remand.
Right. But will you or the Congress be moving court against this?
No, that is a decision which the people in Sitapur and Lucknow have to take. Sitting in Delhi, I can't say that. But I think moving the court is an option. But I think the other option is that this is a mess created by Mr. Modi's police and Mr. Yogi's police and Mr. Yogi Adityanath's government. Let them unravel this mess. They scramble the egg. Let them unscramble the eggs.
Okay. About the okay, and to the point that these detentions were important because otherwise these leaders would have gone and created unrest in Lakhimpur.
Why do you assume they would have created unrest? She was going alone. She told me she is going alone. Assume she is being driven in a car. That's two people in the car. It doesn't violate any law. Even section 144 is not violated. It's only when 5 people join, it's an unlawful assembly. If 2 people go, it's not an unlawful assembly. Besides, I'm told that a farmer leader was allowed to go to Lakhimpur and 2 political leaders were allowed to go to Lakhimpur. How were they allowed to go? And why do you assume that she will create unrest? She only wants to meet the families of the victims. Why can't you allow her to do that?
Okay. So you're saying the question of unrest doesn't arise. But overall, if one were to look at the manner in which this entire case has played itself out, the fact that you have a union minister who reportedly makes an insightful speech, then there's the allegation that his son is the one who ran these people down, the farmers down. The FIR names the son, apparently charged with murder. But,
has he been arrested?
But the son has not been arrested and there's no action against the union minister. The police is saying, we've not done that yet because we are busy with the funeral, we are busy with other things, we are still doing the investigation. Is that an acceptable argument?
Of course not. The SUV belongs to the minister or his son. They are not denying that the SUV ran over the farmers. So you'll have to make some arrest. If you're so busy with funeral and other arrangements, you don't have the time to arrest the owner of the SUV. He may be guilty, he may not be guilty. I'm not commenting on that. Owner of the SUV is not arrested, but Ms. Priyanka Gandhi is arrested. You have the time to arrest Ms. Priyanka Gandhi, but you don't have the time to arrest the minister or the minister's son. This is utter rubbish. As I said, law and order has got a new meaning in UP. It is not law, Indian law. It is not order as we understand legal order. It is Mr. Adityanath's law and Mr. Adityanath's order. So law and order in UP means Mr. Adityanath's law and Mr. Adityanath's order.
So in a case like this, especially with the charge as murder, legally speaking, Mr. Chidambaram, is it imperative that if you're named in an FIR charged with murder, that the arrest should be done forthwith?
Ordinarily, see, murder is a very grave charge. It is one of the gravest charges in the Indian Penal Code. It is punishable with death or life imprisonment. I am not saying anything about the merits of the case.
Sure.
If someone charged with murder, ordinarily, in fact, in 99 out of 100 cases, the person named in the FIR will be arrested. Ask any police officer, retired or serving. A retired officer will say it on the record. A serving officer will say it off the record. Any police officer will tell you if the charge is murder and the FIR names a person, ordinarily that person should be arrested.
And last question, Mr. Chidambaram, you may have seen the Supreme Court's observations yesterday where they were talking about how in the wider context of these protests and the way they've been played out, that if farmers are in the Supreme Court, why are they protesting? What did you make of that?
See, I don't know the exact, these are oral observations.
Yes.
It is not an order. So oral observations are not to be taken as the order of the court, be that as it may. I just want to draw a distinction. Court is examining only the constitutionality of the law. It is not examining the morality of the law, the justness of the law, the economic consequences of the law, the social consequences of the law. It's not examining that. Many laws which have been upheld by courts have been found to be bad laws later. For example, TADA was upheld by court. But after a few years of TADA application, we found that the TADA was being misused. Sedition section 124A has so far been upheld by the court, but we know it's being misused. Emergency law, proclamation of emergency was upheld in ADM Jabalpur. It took several decades to say it was wrong law, but we know that it was morally unjust. It has economic consequences, it has social consequences. So while the court is right, we are examining the constitutional of the law. I would respectfully submit there are other aspects of the law which is not within the purview of the court and on which a citizen has a right to protest.
Okay, interesting. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Chidambaram, for speaking to us. Thanks very much.
Thank you.